Shalom, shalom. This is Brother Nasai. Comparison of the video through the spin probably about Shemel Shai. As always, Lord, when I pray these, let's be edifying to the Lord's elect. Prior to getting started, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Kakadash. I want to give double honor to the apostles and elders, great millstone, rule to teach well, and peace and salutations to you, Akim on the four ones, pushing truth and sincerity and diligence. All right, shalom, shalom. All right, basically just want to do a video to spin probably about Shemel Shai, going into these cold cut agents, those ICE agents, and the things that's currently going on, in society, how, you got those agents, kicking in doors, grabbing up Jakes, grabbing up the Northern Kingdom, right? And how that things will ultimately how things will only progressively to get worse. This is just a fraction of the things to come, and ultimately, I had typed up and I was reading how, those cold cut agents, it's been hella reports on how, excuse me, it's been hella reports on how those cold cut agents, how they act disorderly, how it been multiple cases on them, of like, SA cases, the grape cases, involving individuals, that they've been grabbing up from the Northern Kingdom, mainly these women, and all times you look and you see that women are feeble, right? The scriptures tell you. Matter of fact, let me get this. Let's get this. Let's start with this. This is Sirach 36 and verse 25. It says, where no hedge is, there the possession is spoiled, and he that had no wife will wander up and down in mourning. It says, yeah, that was it, right? So where no hedge is, the possession is spoiled, man, right? So, matter of fact, let me go up. 24, it says, he that getteth the wife beginneth the possession. See? It says, help like unto himself. It says, a pillow of rest. Right? But when you keep going, it says, where no hedge is, there the possession is spoiled. You see, that's the point. See, a man is likened to that hedge unto a woman, man, right? That protection, that shield. You see, and where no hedge is, that possession is spoiled. I always like to liken it into, when you look at like apocalyptic movies and, end time, shows or TV, whatever you want to put on it. You have a lot of women, that are left to be spoiled, left to be by themselves, right? And they're ultimately just taken advantage of. You see, I'm liking it to these cold cut agents and everything that's going on, right? It's been hella accounts, of them basically being taken advantage of. Now imagine, when things progressively get worse. You see, and that's what the scriptures talk about, what says he would make a man, a hiding place from the wind, ultimately not just any man, ultimately a man after Yahweh Shemel Shai, right? Which is what's going to be sucking for. That's going to be, what everybody wants, because women are going to be treated as commodity, right? In those times that we're entering into, right? And I just searched this up. I put in ICE agents, the word, and I put in cases, right? And then this is on the U.S. Immigration and Custom Enforcement. It says former ICE special agent arrested on federal civil rights charges that allege he SA'd two women, right? So it says Riverside, California, former special agent with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, the cold cut agents, that's in the abbreviations, ICE. It says Homeland Security Investigations, HSI. It says was arrested Wednesday on federal civil rights charges that allege he SA'd one woman and twice raped another woman after abusing his official position to convince them not to report his violent conduct. And right, you just keep reading in on this, right? You can see, ultimately what happened. But all in all is that they've been taken advantage of even now. So how much more when, things get chaotic, because things will continue to progressively get worse. Things will continue, to advance into those times which we read about according to prophecy. Right? Matter of fact, let's get this real quick. This is Isaiah 13 and verse 16. It says, matter of fact, let's read it in the nah, never mind. I'll go back. Let's get in the whole. All right, it's Isaiah 13 and verse. Because when you're at the top, it talks about the burden of Babylon, right? It's Isaiah 13 and verse 15. It says, everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. It says, their children also shall be dashed to pieces. Now, this is what's coming. You see, this is what we're seeing. This is what's brewing up. And like I say, we're seeing fragments of it now. You know, you having guys getting, tied down on the ground, shot behind the head. They, what the woman said, they enmity of my son, right? It's a lot of violence going on, but the violence is against you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, man, right? And the main thing, too, right now is against you Northern Kingdom, against you Northern tribes, right? It says, and I'm going to say this, man, Jake not, you Southern Kingdom, y'all not exempt either, right? Because now they're starting to come down on you, too, right? He's starting to grab up him and Jake's up, right? So it says, everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. It says that children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished. You see, so this is what's coming, man. Right? You're going to have, matter of fact, let me get that in the, where my blue letter at? Okay, it didn't stop the video. Okay, cool. Because, you got to watch what you click on sometimes, because I do a voice memo, then I just put the picture over it and post it. But when you go to certain apps, it'll stop the voice memo. Right, so when you get to the NLT, it says, their little children shall be dashed to death before their eyes. Their homes will be sacked, and their wives will be raped, right? But it says, raped, right? So that's what ravished mean, right? To be, when you read it, it says to lie down of sexual relations, right? To be laying with sexually, to make to lie down by force, right? And that's what's gonna happen, man. This is what's going to continue to go down in the earth as things progress, right? What it say? It say that let me get this. So you got to pay attention to what's going on right now in the earth, especially with Trump, DJ Trump, and everything that's going on in these different lands, right? It's been talks about blackouts, right? It's been talks about what I seen earlier today. It was like March 7th. There's supposed to be something on March 7th. I can't remember what it was. I kind of was looking at it, but I was supposed to go back to it, but I was at work, so I didn't get to. But this is a 2 Ezra 16 and 71. It says, basically, there's a lot going on, man, right? It says, they shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord, right? So let me see. Let me go back. All right, so I'm gonna read this 70. It says, for there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord, right? So it's gonna be an insurrection, right? And you look at it now. You got DJ Trump talking about pushing out his insurrection act, right? Where he's going to put military troops in the streets, right? Martial law troops in the streets, right? And that's something that he, that's a part of their agenda, a part of the things that they want to accomplish, right? In which they will, man. They will put the troops in the streets, because what? The scriptures is telling it to us, man, right? And ultimately we're seeing it. Like I say, we're seeing a fragment of the things that is to come. With the cold cut agents being in the street, this is just a glimpse of what it's going to be like, man, of people just being jacked up, pulled out of their houses. Matter of fact, the scriptures say that they shall be pulled out. Let me see. That's 2 Ezra 16:2. It said they should be cast them out their houses and wasting their goods. Let me see. I'm just keep reading this. It should be 72. It says, they shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. Verse 72, yeah. It says, for they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses, man. It says, and then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as gold in the fire, man. So that alone shows you that the elect of the Lord, right? They're gonna be in the midst of this, man. You see, and that's how they're gonna be. That's how it's gonna be known who's the chosen of Yahweh Shemel Shai, man. And that they shall be tried, right, by fire, right, by trial, by hardship, by in the midst of this chaos, man. You see, so we're gonna see, we're gonna live to see the downfall of our enemies, but we're gonna live to go through this trial, man. You know, and Lord willing, we bear the Lord's elect, Lord's number, right? We're gonna make it up out of that, man. As is written, the victory is written about, you know. But as we're reading, we're seeing that it's going to continue to get worse progressively, right? We see that he's talking about implementing, like we say, the Insurrection Act, right? We see he's talking about pushing his troop. He want to push his troops in the streets, right? He's throwing away what you would call your amendments, right? Which really and truly, the amendments don't matter, man. There are no amendments. You have no rights, right? This devil, he do whatever he pleases, right? You gotta eat shit and be happy, you know. So he gonna come down having that great wrath, man. You see, I believe that was it on that verse, right? Matter of fact, I was supposed to get this. Men shall be hiding place, right? And a lot of people, a lot of women now is seeing the importance of a man. Look at, food is at an all-time high, right? Jobs are having mass layoffs, right, all over the world, right? And there's a lot of women out here that's, that wanted to play that single role. You see, I remember when they was cutting off them yaps, and you had that woman go on the media talking about she about 10 seconds away of selling that box, but it shows you that in the midst of chaos, how low people are going to be willing to go, right? So it's Isaiah 32:2. It says, and a man shall be as a hiding place from the wind, and a covert from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as the shadow of a great rock in a weary land. And this is that place, man. This is that weary and dry land. This is that wicked, place wherein we are, right? And only a man of Yahweh Shemel Shai was going to actually be able to be that hiding place. You see, because our hiding place is in Yahweh Shemel Shai. Scripture says that the name of the Lord is a high tower, and the righteous runneth into it and are safe, man. You see, but I also looked this up. I looked up some things up on ChatGPT, and I'm gonna read it. It's not gonna probably be in the same order that I looked it up in, but I'm gonna read it because it was going into how they've been basically how you see right now, they're buying all these different warehouses all over the place, right? Which is going to be detention centers, right? Similar to like how they got Alligator, Alcatraz, and all these different places that they're trying to open up, these concentration camps and everything that's going to be set up. You got to ask yourself, why are they doing this, right? And within these camps, so for what I looked up, is like basically if these detention centers that they're opening up, right, is not tied to the same jurisdiction as a U.S. facility or like a regular prison, right? You can only imagine how the camps are going to be. So like prison is bad, jail is bad, right? But that it don't have shit on what these detention centers are finna be, right? From what I was reading, man, right? And these warehouses that they're setting up, right, which is like I say, held to a completely different standard, right? And I'm gonna read a little bit. I gotta go to it right quick. It's in my gallery, right? They held to a completely different standard. Let me see. I'm trying to see which one let me see. All right, so this is what I text in chat. I think, let me see, is this the first one? Okay, I'm gonna start with this one. I'm gonna just keep going left, right? So I asked chat. I say, what I say? I can't really see it. I say, so is the detention centers? I asked the cold cut agents, detention centers. I can't really see that cut out, but under a different jurisdiction, in order. I say it's under a different jurisdiction, and rule and order. I say, because I do know that you can't just pop up. You need a day advance notice. That's what I said to chat. So chat said, it says, yes, the U.S. Senator latest on Connecticut lawmakers denied access to ICE facilities. It says Senator Chris Murphy, right, was publicly spoke about how Immigration and Custom Enforcement COCA agents was requiring a 7-day advance notice before members of Congress could visit detention facilities, and was criticized for treating some locations as outside property. Salakia, locations as outside proper oversight jurisdiction, right? So they had to give a 7-day written notice, man. They had not a written notice, but a 7-day notice that Congress was coming, right? So that should tell you how bad it is. I'm gonna keep reading and watch what it says. It says Murphy, along with the U.S. Rep. John Larson, said they were denied access to ICE facilities. They were denied, right? It says even after providing notice. It says, and Murphy directly criticized the 7-day notice policy, arguing it amounted to a way for the Department of Homeland Security to avoid transparency and oversight. So it's no transparency or oversight with the detention centers, meaning that, they can't come in and just be, push their weight around, and push their laws and push their, because in regular prison, in regular jail, right, in regular prisons, so I was trying to call me, look out of here, right, in regular prisons and like regular jails and your parishes and all that different type of shit, right, they have to uphold a certain standard, right, like for an example, like if you a certain, let's say religion or whatever you believe, let's say you a Muslim, right, they have to respect that, right, and they give you different food than whatever they may give everybody else and shit like that, right? They can't have you in that motherfucker just starving you out, and it's different laws that they're bound to, right? But watch what it says about these facilities. It says this, that they'll bring in the northern tribes to our people too, man, and the concentration camps, they're not gonna be no better. It says this policy had been mandated in a January directive from Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. It says in prompt pushback from lawmakers who say congressional oversight right allows unannounced visits, rights that a federal judge also later addressed in related litigation, right? So this is what I said. I say, so basically, even on the inside, the rules of a normal jail doesn't apply there. So this is what chat said. It says, yes, basically, yes. It says that's the core of what they were saying. ICE detention centers do not operate under the same rules as normal county, state, or federal jails, right? So it says even though they look like jails, here's the breakdown in plain terms. It says different legal category. ICE facilities are considered civil detention, not criminal incarceration. It says that lets them operate under Department of Homeland Security, DHS rules, not Bureau of Prisons or state jail standards. Oversight is weaker. Normal jails, judges, courts, routine inspections, established inmate rights. And it says ICE centers equal internal DHS policies, private contractors, limited external enforcement. It says, so you just can't come in this hole enforcing your, you just can't come in here enforcing your federal jail law codes or whatever, if you will. So it says, that's why it says limited external enforcement. So it says rights are more, so because it's not under the, it's under the Department of Homeland Security, basically. It says rights are more limited. So it says people inside may not get guaranteed bond hearings, speedy courts. So they can really lose you in the system. Niggas be like, oh, they'll lose you in the system. Oh, no, they'll really lose you off in these hoes, man. It says speedy court timelines. It says the same grievance or medical standard. So you can be somebody that catch seizures or, got something medically that, somebody need to be medically inclined to. They not hearing it. It says access to consistent access to lawyers. It says access rules are tighter. It says that's where the 7-day notice comes in. Let me skip over to the next screen. 7-day notice come in, and ICE has argued that even members of Congress can't just pop up. It says because they classify facilities under special jurisdiction rules, you see? So basically anything goes in there, man. Right, and watch what chat say. It says private contractors complicate it more. Many ICE centers are run by companies like GEO Group or Core Civic, it says, which operate under contracts, not jail law books. You see? So it says, so while it functions like a jail, it's legally treated as something else, which is exactly why critics say it creates a gray zone where normal jail protection don't fully apply. If you want, I can break. Okay, yeah. So I think what I said, I say so. This is what I told Chad. I say so they are in terrible living conditions, no caregiving, and etc. Basically like a third world country prison or worse. It says short answer. In many cases, it says yes, conditions have been reported as extremely bad, and it's not every facility is not accidental. It says it's a structural problem. So they structure their system in the detention centers to be terrible, right? You know, that's what I'm saying. Imagine that people, families complain about the living conditions in jail and how nasty it is, and they're not feeding, whatever the case may be. Imagine hearing these detention centers, how they treating Jake. And how overcrowded. I was going to say it, watch. It says, what's been repeatedly documented across multiple investigations, lawsuits, and inspectors, general reports, and testimonies. It says overcrowding, people sleeping on floors, lights on 24/7, right? So it's overpopulated. You might be in a room about the size of a goddamn motherfucking, what them shits called? Storage unit. One of them mediocre, small storage units, right? And people sleeping on the floor. It's crowded up in this motherfucker. They shoulder to shoulder. It says, and you know how they do in jail. They only put one toilet, you know. Ain't no telling the conditions in there. They probably put, got just a bucket in that motherfucker or something, man. It says inadequate medical care. It says delayed treatment, ignored symptoms, deaths later ruled preventable. So you basically, you die in that motherfucker, you die. Right? It says poor sanitation, dirty bathrooms, lack of soap, and limited showers, insufficient food, low quality, small portions, spoiled meals. So basically it's starving you out. And that's what the scriptures say will happen, man. Right? In the times, it's going to continue to, like I say, it's going to progressively continue to get worse, man. Right? Scriptures talk about how they shall take certain of us away, feeding us idol things that are worshipped unto idols, man. Right? Some brothers gonna get caught off and be sent to concentration camps and be having to deal with these, these conditions, right? But know that Yahweh Shema Shah is with us. It says insufficient food, low quality, small portions, spoiled meals, right? So nigga, they giving you food with maggots and mildew. You never know, man, right? It says extreme temperatures, icebox conditions. Conditions is a real common complaint. Mental health neglect or solitary confinement used for people in crises, man. Right. And, me personally, I never been put in like solitary confinement or like never been, had to deal with no shit like that. But I hear stories and like, shit like that for people that have been in it. They ain't no place for nobody, man. People that have been to jail and like prison, they tell you that's not a place for nobody, man. So imagine this place, man. Right. So what chat say is it literally every ICE facility? No, it says, so your third world prison, but worse comparison, emotionally, a lot of people who've been inside say yes, right? So it, how, you go over there to them third world countries and you probably like read about them prisons, their prisons, how conditions are bad. It smell like fucking doo-doo and piss everywhere, and you probably got a little hole in the ground, whatever the case may be, man. It's terrible in there, and it's going to continue to get worse. And then imagine, what's happening in there, right? Like I was reading earlier on, the first thing I read was going into, what they was doing to those women in there, to those tribes, right? To those tribes in that, man, right? Taking, essay reports and all kind of different shit, man, that's going on, right? So I'm going to get this real quick. See, we in these times, man, right? It's just going to continue to elevate, continue to get worse, right? This is Jeremiah 18:22. We're really watching this play out. This is what's happening right now before our eyes. It says, 21, it says, therefore deliver up their children to the famine and pour out their blood by the force of the sword, right? This is what's coming, right? It says let and happening, right? It's just going to continue to advance and get worse and worse and worse. It says, and let their wives be bereaved meaning separated of their children. They yanking up children, right? Grabbing children up, using 8-year-old children as you're trying to get in the house to get their parents and separating families. This is what Edom is doing. It says, and be widows, and let their men be put to death, and let their young men be slain by the sword in battle. Excuse me. It says, let a cry be heard from their houses when thou shalt bring a troop suddenly upon them. It says, and for they have digged a pit to take me and hid snares for my feet, man. And that's what's going on, right? And you see that the snares is being hid for our feet, man. You see, because forget what I was watching. I was watching something and reading, right? And it's basically going into how, these cold-cut agents and how, the government is allowing them to kick door and do all the things that they're doing to basically push out how that the amendments and the rights and all of that is void. You see? So, man, it ain't nothing to hold on to here, man. We see that this thing is happening now, right, man? People is being separated from their kids and families completely separated, right? It's getting bad, man. What else can we say? We've been prophesying this and warning that these things will happen, right? And now we're seeing it's going to continue to get worse. Like the scriptures say that, Edom will begin to come down with great wrath, knowing that he have a short time. So this devil is, he's running out of time. And while he's running out of time, he's been running his drills, his tests, right? And practicing and constantly showing Jake, in the northern and southern kingdom that you have no rights, man. You see, you have no rights, you have no power, right? Your voice don't matter, right? So don't be listening to the wicked out there protesting and stomping and doing all that type of shit. That's what he wants you to do, man, right? And shortly he's going to have it to where he's desensitizing you and putting his troops in the streets, and they're going to be gunning people down, and it's going to be on and popping, man. So things are going to continue to get worse, progressively get worse, right? I just wanted to go into that and show. I wish I could have showed it on the screen about what I was reading about those detention centers, but brothers could look into it, look into those detention centers and different jurisdiction, different laws, different living conditions, and ultimately look and see what these cold cut agents are actually doing, with the authority that they have. So with that, Lord, when I pray this lesson was edifying to the Lord's elect, I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bashim, Yahushua, Bashim, Kakadash. I'm going to give double honor to the apostles and elders, great millstone, rulers, teach well. And peace, say, taste of your Akim on the four winds, pushing truth, that's sincerity and diligence. Until next time, Shalom.